Scanning enemy overlords. Surge.
I'll make it to magic.
Are you dreaming again, Marco?
You did?
What do you think, Homer?
See?
All right, you're on. Go.
Lord Homer has spoken. Bow before Lord Homer. Lord Homer decides who lives and who dies. Bequeath all your young virgins to Lord Homer.
Television, new religion, let everyone sing. Hallelujah, politicians don't wanna listen. They only wanna make money out of you. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
The Animorphs VHS tapes open with a bit where one of the actors gets in front of the video camera and monologues for a while. I get that this is to emulate the style of the books, that instead of writing down their adventures, they're describing them on tape. That's stupid, for a number of reasons, seeing how the whole "I can't tell you who I am or where I live" thing is pointless when we can see your stupid face. And I feel sorry for anyone who watched this episode for the first time on this tape, because then you get this.
5 of us saw it. And together we watched an alien spacecraft land, and it was incredible. I mean, I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I felt weird. I felt excited and afraid. But when I saw Alfangor, that's the end. I felt like I knew him forever.
So from that, you would come to two conclusions. Either A, the show didn't have the budget to film the origin story, or the far worse B, we are currently being told what we are about to see. Who thought that was a good idea? And this opening thing is long, too. A whole 3 minutes, spoiling the episode for us. The episode begins proper at the arcade. Well, cyber cafe may be more accurate, but I've never seen one that required to put quarters in to use their systems. Jake and Marco are playing the Beast Wars PlayStation game. That's not a joke, that's really what they're playing. I guess that's less obvious than Space Invaders. And Jake's dog Homer is there for no apparent reason. Tobias is also there, sporting his Ninth Doctor cosplay costume, and he's even brought his posse. Tobias quits early, which is probably for the best. People tend to forget the sleaze troll shows up right after you cross the Netherfjord. Rachel and Cassie show up to tease the boys, when suddenly the computer monitors go all static, because that's how video games work, and Homer runs off. Well, gee. Naturally, this is everyone's problem, so all 4 of them go running after the dog, which somehow leads them through the entire mall into the streets outside. Press X for Homer. And they all eventually end up at the construction site, abandoned factory thing. Well, probably not abandoned, considering all these lights are on and something seems to be going on inside. Hey guys, you know what'd be fun? Walking through mysterious jets of steam. Ah, my flesh! In television aimed towards a younger audience, there's a term that's passed around a lot called imitatable behavior. Basically, the idea is that one should be cautious in what they show on TV out of fear that their viewers may replicate the act. I always thought the reason for this whole Homer chase thing was because the producers feared that if they showed the stupid kids entering a dangerous, off-limits area just because they're stupid kids looking for a shortcut, as in the book, that the kids watching the show might do the same thing. And thus this whole Homer thing was probably created as a way for the kids to enter this pseudo-construction site, while still a totally stupid thing to do, but it was far less likely to happen to real kids. Well, throw that out the window, because here's Tobias entering the construction site looking for a shortcut. I think that might have something to do with the whole mysterious loner angle they seem to have been going with in the series. So then we have Tobias, this wimpy blonde kid who worships Jake, and wimpy blonde kid? This kid doesn't look all that wimpy, and he clearly has brown hair. Well, that was just a miscommunication with the guy doing the book cover. In the actual book, actually this kid kind of looks like the silent but tough type, kind of a mix between Easy Rider and 50 Style Greaser. Not the funny Fonz kind, the kind with switchblades. I want you to find someone who looks exactly like this cover model, but I want you to change his clothes to all black, and make the jacket leather. But that might upset... Yeah, you're right. Better make it fake leather. Don't want those PETA freaks on her ass. No, I mean, Tobias offers this emotional powder keg that we just can't... Can we give him a switchblade? The kids find home with Tobias, who is preoccupied with what appears to be the flying car from the second Harry Potter book. A random CGI blob of a ship crash lands on the site, and the Animorphs go to investigate it. Well, that's a horse of a different color. Yep, it's the Andalite Elfangor, who comes in exactly 3 shots. Horse legs spray-painted blue, creepy Play-Doh head, and crouched on the ground with the shadows obscuring his lack of convincing alien mask. Also, Elfangor appears to be suffering male pattern baldness. Elfangor warns the kids of the Yeerks, shown here invading a Michael Myers mask. I'll applaud the show's Yeerk design, which is slug-like enough while still being unquestionably alien. Remember that there was no official artwork of the Yeerks at the time, and it would have been too easy to just use regular old slugs, so... Oh. So yeah, you know the story. Elfangor pulls out the morphing cube.
Where was he keeping the morphing cube?
One of those changes from the books that isn't necessarily bad, just different, is that in the show, Elfangor never explains what the blue box does before having the Animorphs use it. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due, and Lord knows this show needs as much as it can get. This whole thing contributes to the overall feeling of the group being in over their heads. As far as the group knows, this could be a weapon that'll kill them, or it could impregnate them with little baby Andalites, or it could be an elaborate pull-my-finger joke. They just don't know till they go through with it.
This gift is for you, Tobias.
How do you know my name?
I'm Blonde Susie 654. But Blonde Susie 654 is a 16-year-old girl. That's the internet. Get used to it. But she said she'd meet me here for some hot sex. Oh, that's still happening. So the kids get the power to morph. Elfangor gives them the rules, and then a Yeerk spacecraft shows up. As the kids run off to hide, Elfangor tries to throw Tobias a New Age pizza slicer he got from Spencer's Gifts, but Elfangor misses and the thing gets lost in the shadows. Elfangor's disc. I'll have a lot to say about you over this series. This marks the arrival of Visor 3, a.k.a. the same costume as Elfangor, only with evil eyes swapped in. Visor 3 gives the whole Yeerks rule Andalites drool speech, turns into a shadow puppet, and eats Elfangor. The kids react, which sets off the flashlight brigade, so everyone scatters. Well, not to be foiled by mere children, the Yeerks release their ultimate weapon, the one Hork-Bajir. They only have one. Now, I plan to talk about all the main cast members in the series, but due to time, it'll have to be spread out through the reviews. Jake here is played by Shawn Ashmore, who for a while was the most successful actor to come out of the series, though I'd probably give that title to Paulo Costanzo these days. Ashmore is best known for playing Iceman in the first 3 X-Men movies and a few episodes of the Superhero Squad show, though I'll always remember him best as the bully with a tiny penis in Blood Moon. He's not a bad actor, but I always felt he lacked a certain level of gravitas to playing the increasingly world-weary leader of Earth's last hope. Jake dives into a tube and runs into Homer. With the one Hork-Bajir and a bunch of controllers hanging around, led by Mr. Legfleas here, Jake figures the only option is to give these morphing powers a whirl, so he acquires and morphs Homer. The episode actually makes the effort to make the morphing sequence genuinely unsettling, playing it slow, emphasizing the mushy morphing sound effects, and cutting back to the real Homer, who thinks it's the damn saddest thing he's ever seen. Fully morphed, Jake and the real Homer make a run for it, but not before stealing one of the controller's flashlights. Ha ha, suckers! The next day, the Animorphs all meet around the lunch table to discuss what they just saw and what to do next. They only have 2 leads, the mysterious alien disc and Principal Chapman, who reveals himself to be none other than Mr. Legfleas. Post-episode follow-up. The first episode of Animorphs is actually a lot better than a lot of the stuff that came afterwards. It really keeps things simple, and allows itself to heap on a good pile of atmosphere. The soundtrack sounds like it was directly lifted from the Goosebumps show a few times, but it's still appropriately plinky and off-putting, and sets up a feeling of unease. However, the seams start to show when you start seeing the Andalites and Hork-Bajir, and you realize that while the acting and atmosphere may be good, the studio was still way in over its head. There isn't as many number of changes between this book and this episode here, as there are with other episodes, and fans of the book will immediately recognize the lifted dialogue when it happens. Of the changes there are, the one that sticks to my side is Homer leading them to the construction site place thing, which is never explained and requires we buy the idea that the mall would allow Jake to bring a dog into their establishment. Again, I'll get into Elfangor's disc at a later date. As for Jake morphing Homer at the construction site place thing, that makes sense from a behind-the-scenes standpoint, as morphing is one of the biggest draws of this series, and you couldn't not have a morphing sequence in your premiere episode. I normally will score multi-part episodes as a whole instead of scoring each individual part, but My Name is Jake is a two-parter in name only. This episode doesn't end on a cliffhanger, and there is no more direct continuity between this episode and the second, as there is between the second and the third, and the third and the fourth, and so on. As such, I give My Name is Jake Part 1 a 7 out of 10.
You know, funniest thing happened to me last night. Some blue dude with 4 legs put me and a few other idiots in charge of saving the world.